What's up, guys? Welcome back to MLG Prizefights presented by BIC Flex4 Razors. I'm JP McDaniel. That is Wolf over there. We are now done with the first match of the night. We've got one more to go, and I am super excited for this one as Losira is going up against Ganzi in this TVZ. Talk to me about these two players, Wolf.
Well, Losira kind of fell off for a while. His most notable performance that I can think of really in Korea was getting second place in GSL July. Losing to his teammate Nest. And he's done pretty well at a lot of different tournaments worldwide. He got second in Columbus 2011. He got an all-kill against NX. And basically, he's kind of been a top-notch player for a while, but most of his best performances were in 2011. And this year, he hasn't really proved himself yet, but he just re-qualified for Code A. And I'm excited to see what this guy can bring to the table.
Now, what about Ganzi? I feel like he's always a player that he's definitely a great player, but he's never done anything to kind of make people say like, "Oh my God, it's Ganzi." You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have any of those incredible moments that at least come to my mind. What about yours?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, there's never a moment in Ganji's career where everyone said, "Oh, he's like MMA, or he's like MVP, or he's like Nest." He hasn't quite gotten to that level just yet, and they're both very similar players in that regard.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. So let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into our first map. It is going to be Antigua Shipyard here. And as we do that, we can see that up here in the top left-hand corner, as the red Terran will be Complexity's very own Ganzi. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, from Team LGIM, it will be the blue Zerg, Losira.
Yep, and I'm really curious to see what sort of builds we're going to see from Losira. As I mentioned earlier on, Losira really likes to go for aggressive strategies and show matches any online tournament he plays in. He's done 6 pools very often in qualifier tournaments, for example. He really likes to do Roach Baneling aggression, Roach aggression purely. He likes to be the attacker, but when he plays at LANs, or when he plays in Korea specifically, you know, just like any sort of Korean tournament, he seems to be a little bit more serious. So I wonder how serious he's going to take this match. I mean,
he is taking the high yield.
Yeah, Losira does this a lot, actually. Now, what he's going to do with this is a Roach push that allows him to rally his Roaches out of that gold base. He gives him a little bit more money to spend on those Roaches, and he just rallies them from there. The first time Losira used to do this was on the map that has been removed from the map pool. Thank whoever actually made that choice. His Crossfire. He used to do this build on Crossfire all the time because the gold base would be close to his opponent's base. I think he did it once on Dual Site 2 where that gold base was there, but it's much less effective on that map because the gold base is so far.
Right.
But he's definitely going to just do a Roach push here. This is something Losira is known for.
Oh, and he gets the extractor at the last bit of HP there. Over in the main base of Ganzi. There goes the command center going down, and 1 Rax expand. Very typical of Terrans at this stage in the game. Almost all the drones being pulled here. Well, maybe about half the drones being pulled. Sent over to the high yield. And in terms of timing, I think they're actually going to time out quite nicely here with that hatchery being done. Already starting to mine gas. Bonding pool is going to be finished here pretty soon. And Ganzi has not stepped out of his ramp. And because of that, he is completely blind as to what Losira is doing on his side of the map.
Yeah, he's totally unaware. And if you don't go outside and you don't scout, this can really catch you off guard. And Losira may have studied Ganji's play and said to himself, "Oh, okay, he seems to not scout a lot in this match, we'll do this build." But this is also just a map-specific build. Most Korean tournaments do not use gold bases ever. And this map obviously has the gold base in it, so he's going to take advantage of that, use an older strategy that he really likes personally. We do have Zergling speed on the way, and so Losira in an okay position here as far as his economy goes. Even though his opponent's going to have this as a command center up for free for a little while, he's got gold base mining. I mean, that's all there is to say.
Yeah. It is pretty ironic, though, that the Terran's not far behind because Mules are a pretty good unit. Here come 4 Marines actually going straight towards the Zelnaga Tower. The Ling's having a fallback, and going into Ganzi's view, he sees it, and he's got to be a little bit upset about that. But he might be able to do some damage here. There's not enough Lings. The Roaches are only halfway complete. The Queen pops out, But, okay, Ganzi's going to have to fall back. He delayed mining for just a tiny bit, but those roaches are now coming out pretty soon here for Losira.
Yeah, he needs a bunker, and he needs it fast. He's actually not starting it just yet. Sending his Marines back. There's the bunker at the natural, but he waited a little bit longer than I would have liked to make that. Now, at this point, the roaches will actually attack across the map. The bunker looks like it will finish in time because the roaches are waiting on the watchtower, waiting for them to all be together before they attack. And a Baneling nest goes down for Losira. Like I said, man, he just really loves to put on aggression like this, especially in online tournaments.
Yep, and those roaches are making their way across the map. The bunker gets loaded up. A wall has been started, but only in the south. The north is still easily bypassable. There's the engineering bay, double engineering bay going down. Those roaches will be forced here to fight. Lings coming in as well, and only one bunker stands with 4 Marines here, and it goes down very, very quickly without any repairs as the SCVs were a little bit late, and he's going to have to fall back up into the main.
Yeah, he will. The depots do get raised in time, but he has to cancel both E-bays, which is actually fine, you know, as far as, well, hold that thought. He's actually losing every mule and SCV he had left at the natural. Ganzi in a forward position from here. And now, he may just lose this game.
Yeah, Losira is now kind of putting the nail in the coffin as Banelings are being morphed in over here at the natural. Command center was saved, or orbital command was saved at the natural. And now he's going to have 3 orbital commands on 1 base. We've got a tank coming out here. But here the Banelings go, and the wall is down now. As Losira kind of delayed it. Yeah, but the tank pops out. And if he can get the repair on this, it looks like he's going to be able to. Is this going to be the hero tank that Ganzi needs to stay in this game? And it looks like it will. What a hold there from Ganzi.
If he had 2 more Banelings, that would have been very different. But more Zerlings are going to stream in here, and I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. He needs to slipknot those Lings on the siege tank. The bunker is starting to fall, and Losira just rallying more and more Zerlings across the map. Can Ganzi really hold here? I mean, the siege tank now up to 10 kills, and it looks like he's actually going to hold. He's lost a lot of SCVs. He's down to 16 now, but Losira's on only 19 drones, so he can actually, with 3 orbitals, actually just fall back to his natural, use the tanks to hold, but this next wave of Zerlings, that may be a problem.
And he gets somewhat of a surround on one of those tanks, but the control of Ganzi is too good here. No Banelings morphed in, which means those SCVs can just do such a huge repair. And Ganzi holds, man. That was pretty incredible. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back in this game, though. He's basically set up the perfect wall, so Baneling Bust will not do anything to him with that Rax, Factory, and Orbital, as well as Siege Mode up here on the high ground. Losira is going to have to really play a macro game from here on out, and Ganzi, even though he lost so many of those SCVs, he has 3 orbital commands in his main base, which means his economy is really not too shabby, especially with how many drones Losira is actually on.
Yeah, Losira's not in the best position now because his opponent has so much tech and he has these 3 orbitals, because even though he killed so many SCVs, worker count's already getting back up. He's making 3 SCVs at a time. He's got triple mules. Yeah, he's only using them on 1 base, but that still helps. And he's going to be able to move down to his natural pretty soon with the amount of tank production he has. He's got that barracks producing Marines as well. I really feel like Losira's attack could have been better with some more Banelings in it. If he made a few more Banelings when he went, he would have been able to kill all of those SCVs that were repairing the tank. And yeah, the tank would have lived, but that would have been a completely different story.
He's going to use these 2 orbitals to form a wall here at the natural. Lings could possibly run in, but I think that siege tank will cover it. Yes, it does get in. Even though Ling tries to stop it, the Marines will be able to move down here and clean those Lings up. What a weird game right now that we're seeing. Not what at all I expected at TVZ in its current state.
Yeah, well, the gold base changes things a little bit, but Ganzi just taking a little bit of a risk with that faster third. And in the end, I think it's going to pay off for him. Right now, his worker count is 30 to 45. So yeah, he's pretty severely down on workers, and one of his opponent's bases is a gold base. So as far as mineral income goes, he's really, really low. He doesn't have his gases yet, but his tech is still leagues ahead. Lair is just finishing. He's got a Banshee on the way. It's going to come out and do a little bit of harassment. He's going to actually try to probably go for drones at the natural rather than the third base, because that's going to be the one he expects the most defense at least I would. And we see just one Banshee. He's going for the reactor. The Banshee's going to allow him to scout a little bit. He's going to see it. Where's the queen? How much creep do you have? What can I really focus on here? What should I be making back at home? He actually may be able to get some banelings for free here, and he definitely will. This is actually so good for Ganzi.
Yeah. My one fear right now for Ganji is that this creep spread could possibly get pretty out of control, maybe right outside of his natural here pretty soon. It will definitely deny his third unless he takes it in maybe the next minute or so. But Losira is really not doing all that much. I mean, he's getting centrifugal hooks, of course, baneling speed, and he already has a lot of lings. Tech-wise, he's still only on Roach tech. Is he going to go for like a huge baneling bust?
Yeah, he may. Losira is someone who makes so many banelings, it's insane. Like, I remember the first time I ever noticed this was, I was watching Losira lose a ZVT in the Gome studio in some Code S game, and I remember Doe was with me, and he told me, he's like, I think Losira makes too many banelings, and I was like, I don't know what that means exactly, but then I looked and I was like, no, you're right, he makes too many banelings, they're not even effective half the time because he's just blowing them up on siege tanks, and he just loves to make a ton of banelings and do what he can with them. And I think you're right, the Zergling count is starting to get a little bit out of control. This Banshee still remains alive with 7 kills, doing a little bit of harassment. It sees that there has not been a 4th base taken. The creep spread, like you mentioned, may become a problem for Ganji.
Yeah, especially with the baneling speed here, but a huge drop is coming in for Ganzi. And Losira actually saw it for just a tiny second there. We'll see how well he's paying attention. That Banshee, though, man, is it really just being such a huge annoyance right now? Finally getting taken out by that queen. The drop is still coming. Overlord Scout is pretty good for LG IM Losira right now, as Ganji's going to be taking the third here in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, he is. And I think this drop could actually do a ton of damage, but it looks like Losira knows what's up. Oh, he's gonna if he doesn't cancel this right away, he's gonna lose his hatch. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and one thing you got to remember is that those Marines are not upgraded. They are still at 0-0. The Zergling's at 1-0. So the drop really does not do all that much, and here's that creep spread coming into play, as we're actually just seeing Ganzi siege on creep. If you go into Losira's view, now as I click at the rich mineral field, it's almost already mined out, but look how much he can actually see at this point.
Yeah, it's insane. He's got so much
scary.
vision. So much vision, so much speed. And with the amount of creep spread he's done to the north, if he actually completes that, Ganji will not be able to drop without him knowing about it because his creep's gonna be there. He can't even hide drops anymore if he continues that. He's got changelings at the natural as well. He's got vision there, so he knows what type of composition his opponent is making. He can consistently go and use those to check for what his opponent's upgrades are, how many mineral patches he has left. And using little things like this is actually really important. Losira is showing a great amount of map control right now. The army supply is actually in favor of Ganji right now, and he has a third base secured. His tech is a little bit better still, I feel. His upgrades are going now at 2-1 on the way. 2-2 is his opponent's upgrades on the way, but his opponent's making mutas really late, and unless he gets lucky with them, I feel like Ganji's push could kill him if he decides to go anytime soon.
Yeah, the mutas are out. Not sure where they're currently at, though. The Lings here moving forward, and a quick pickup is going to make sure these Marines are still alive, although he's dropping there on the low ground. Doesn't matter too much right now. Mutas are kind of just sitting in this kind of in-between area of all the bases, and Ganzi's slowly moving forward with drops on both sides of the map, but really not going to be able to do that much. With the mutas in play as well, means these drops should get cleaned up, but Ganzi's going to drop on the high ground and do his best to try to take some out before dying. Yeah,
that's actually really nicely done by Ganji there. Takes out a muta, and he's gonna eventually find himself trapped in a position where he can't get out. He's trying to do the best he can with these drops. It's actually really cute to see him try, but he's definitely gonna lose everything. He's attacking though at the same time in the center, scanning, killing tumors, targeting down banelings. Will he get this hatch? If he does, it doesn't really matter because there's only gas left. Oh, he walked right into banelings.
That was kind of awkward to watch.
Yeah, that hurt me a little bit inside. And with him losing double drops on the right side and all those Marines, Losira takes a 50 supply lead.
Yeah, and he's going into the main right now. +2 weapons is going to finish, as Losira is focusing down the missile turrets and reactors for the time being. It looks like Ganzi's not even really caring too much about this right now. He sends in some Marines as the Mutas are trying for that tech lab, and it's going to get repaired at 3 HP. But for right now, I mean, Losira's in a pretty nice place. He has maybe too many Lings here in the center. We'll see if he morphs any Banelings out of those, but he's got, I don't know, Ganzi's kind of position with all these tanks is going to be very, very easy and very spread out to take out these Lings, but here we go, Wolf.
Here we go indeed, the Lings running, and there are so many of them, over 100 in fact, going through and taking out a ton of Marines. He pulls back, trying to save his Banelings, but he loses a lot in the process. He's now only up 30 supply, but that was a very decent trade for him. He's making more Banelings, traditional Losira style. 4 more Mutas on the way, that'll put him up to a total of 16. And Ganzi still in a defensive position, but Losira's attacks have just been so threatening.
Yeah, it seems like every time Losira goes in for an attack, he takes out just enough stuff to make it so Ganzi can't actually push forward. A lot of times you see Terrans do that after taking out a small Zerg army, but here it goes Losira. Well, maybe. Looks like he was kind of juking and jiving with his Lings. Okay, now here he goes. And with that, he's going to catch the Marines outside of the siege units. I think he just has too much here. As the Thorns take it down, there's way too many units for Ganzi to deal with. And Losira, after a very troublesome start, is going to force Ganzi out of the game. Good game, well played. Losira taking game 1. What did you think of that game? The beginning of it was kind of catered to the map, but what did you think of the end game?
There was a moment where Ganzi lost basically 4 medevacs full of units, 2 on the right side, 2 on the left side. That was the moment where he no longer could take out the creep or put pressure on Losira. And Losira just kept throwing waves at him with a better economy and, at the time, better upgrades, 2-2 versus 2-1. And Ganzi just eventually could not deal with all of it. He barely, dealt with the harass in his main base. He started losing some production. And I feel like Ganzi could have taken that game if his drops were more successful, or if he didn't lose those units, caught up with upgrades, maybe was able to clear up that creep a little bit more safely. That's kind of what led to his demise, I feel. The early game, yeah, he lost a lot, but I think he transitioned beautifully out of it.
Yeah, he really did. He held so well there in the beginning. And economically, was pretty much on equal footing because of the 3 CCs. So regardless, Losira takes game 1 in this TVZ, and we're going into game 2 right after this break. We will see you guys then.